This is the beginning of an occasional series, tackling the smaller things which are still worth a look, where I'll be scanning through the listings and asking, "Out good on, ma'am?" We're kicking off with a pair of shows where celebrities use the power of fame to get things done, for the little folk like us. It's a well-worn genre, encompassing everything from Challenge Annika and DIY SOS, to that show where Dom Littlewood had a retired burglar break into your house, so you'd learn not to leave the little window in the bog open when you went to work.
Think like a burglar and then think, how can I make his job really hard?
It's the mid-90s. It's ITV. It's Schofield's Quest. This predates Phil's run on This Morning, interviewing people in an insincere voice about why they get so many benefits, or how come they got a boob job on the NHS, like the Waitrose Jeremy Kyle. As we're digging up old piles of digital junk, all this stuff comes from VHS rips, sandwiched between the first and last 10 seconds of other shows. I don't even want to know the context of this.
See, that's what happens when you leave your gloves in the garden. Oh no, I knew this was going to happen.
The urgency of the title sequence makes Phil look like Captain Planet. Crew rushing in with news of the latest disaster only he can fix. What's on that fax? The Black Claw's stolen a cache of nukes, and he's headed to the UN.
Good evening, yes, welcome, it's Quest. We are back live and set for a new season.
Season? I think you mean series. The way he describes the show, it's essentially Philip Schofield as the first Wikipedia and Google rolled into one.
This is the programme that explodes all the myths, solves all the problems and answers every question under the sun. How? By tapping into Britain's biggest database, which of course is you on the end of your telephone.
Phil's lair is a hub of activity, with an army of researchers manning a bank of phones, and we're halfway between consumer rights and the glorious randomness of the magazine show. Viewers are first thrown into a piece about Brian Connolly's Al Jolson musical, which doubles as a handy euphemism for anal.
Karen Keating explains.
While the intro feels like a PowerPoint presentation by Joe Rogan. I did a better American accent when I was playing with my WWF figures.
Okay, let's go for a take. Jimmy, you keep that camera rolling till I stop singing, no matter what happens. Eddie.
I'm from New York, baby. So the deal is, people present Schofield with a quest, like a real-life World of Warcraft. But rather than bringing back 10 pig dicks in exchange for a jerkin, Brian's concerns the one time Jolson came to England.
But what my quest is we'd love to meet anyone who was in the audience on that night.
2 hours of blackface? How about everyone ask their dads?
I, personally, as well, would like to find anyone who's got an original pair of Al Jolson's white gloves. And, folks, you ain't seen nothing yet. Smoking!
Then a lady comes on to read out the names of people who've gone missing, hoping they'll get in touch. And you absolutely shouldn't laugh, but...
He doesn't even think to feed himself unless somebody puts food inside him, so in his hands.
Not up his arse! Mainly, Schofield's Quest is a mad sprint through various unconnected items, the televisual equivalent of falling down the stairs. 1 minute, he's holding up the first issue of the Beano, or trying to track down the star of an old Clark's ad.
Who is that proper little madam? Where is she today? And if you know who and where she is, then call us straight away. Let's get this quest sorted before we close tonight.
And then he's setting off the fire alarm to test a hearing dog for the deaf, in case it's not pulling its weight.
Here he comes. course, if you take on a job like this, then
Is that a wig?
to see it through, it's a big
I'm here at Memorabilia 95, which is Europe's largest collectible event.
I've not heard a word this woman said. Too distracted by David Bailey over there. Speaking of frightening ghouls over the shoulder,
Well, as you can see, Ringo's looking a bit gloomy, and so if there's anyone around there who can help me find jobs, I'll be very, very, very grateful.
it's strange seeing one of these fairs so sparsely attended, and with sod all Marvel and Star Wars. Today you'd be queuing for the urinal with a dozen Spider-Mans and some bloke with his shirt off painted up like Max Rebo.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Last year on Quest, we told you a couple of those urban myths, unbelievable stories in which unbelievable things happen to unbelievable stories.
You what, mate?
Unbelievable stories in which unbelievable things happen to unbelievable stories.
Oh, God, my head.
Now there's an expert on this subject, a man whose belief in everyday life is regularly stretched to breaking point. He's here now, and he's Richard Wilson.
An expert based purely on the catchphrase of his fictional character. It turns out he's there to shill a forgotten cash-in book. Richard Wilson's I Don't Believe It.
Yes, well, I thought if I brought a book out with the title, then I wouldn't have to go around saying it. Very cheap.
What's sort of your favourites?
My favourites? Well, this is a book of... I mean, I haven't written this book. This is a book of absurdities.
Say again?
It's a book of... I mean, I haven't written this book.
You have read it, though. No?
At last she got the feeling that something might be wrong. It was. She was driving on the frozen Shropshire Union Canal.
This really is the demeanour of a man fulfilling a contractual obligation.
Have you got any more?
Any more? We've got a nutty notices section. This sign in a grocer's. Please don't handle the fruit. Ask for Debbie. In a bakery, ladies get fresh in here.
Right.
It's no You Know It Makes Sense by Del Boy. It's no Mr. Bean's Diary.
Do you have a favourite section in the book?
Well, there is a section in the book which I do find quite hard to believe, and it's about spooky showers.
What, like the one in American History X?
Is this live, this show?
Settle down, Phil. Things go rather Fortean, as talk turns to rains of fish, and Richard Field's listener calls about fish and frogs falling on their heads.
3-inch sand eels fell in Sunderland.
Right.
So there you are, you're in Sunderland in 1918 and you're showered with sand eels.
It was a good time to be a paranormal buff, with Aspel's Strange But True, and Mysteries with Carol Vorderman. And these sorts of shows were always randomly going on about ghosts or aliens or crop circles.
Because once again on Quest, it's UFO time. This week, UFOs. It's easy to be cynical about flying saucers and such, but not quite as easy as it was, because now the faithful Skywatchers have a new weapon in their hands, the camcorder.
They've got some chap in who filmed a UFO. Quick question, how do you pronounce this word?
It's hard to define whether it was of UFO extraterrestrial origin or whether it was of military origin.
Sure.
Who knows?
Let's have a look at the stuff you shot then. Let's see whether or not we can make head and tail of it.
The actual object that we captured on the camcorder is ringed now. And we believe there was military helicopters. We can't prove it, but we believe there were military helicopters.
Hang on. Unbelievable stories, conspiracies, alien craft, missing teenagers?
Afterwards, I looked over at my camera person and I was just like, he just admitted he's Q.
From UFOs to PUFOs, pooey floating objects.
Surfing has always been quite close to my heart, not least because my dad was the first person, or one of the first people in Britain, to make surfboards.
A hunk from Neighbours talks about the surfers who have to evade human turds.
Believe it or not, that was filmed in Cornwall where they make the pasties.
Oh, I give up.
You don't bomb your words properly, do you? It's a target slam.
With this modern obsession of bringing back everything from the 80s and 90s, the Tories have even rebooted Ploppy Beaches.
Right on, good to see you.
Too, mate.
Well, right around the coast of Britain, 300 million gallons of sewage are discharged every day.
Oh, yeah. So what's being done about it?
His sort of group of ulcers started to spread over his entire chops. And another one, Stephen McIntosh, got this sort of green slime coming out of his nasal passage.
I've seen tampons, condoms, human feces, condoms, panty liners.
What a disgrace.
Avoid the hors d'oeuvres if there's a party at Scoff's, if his tray of logs and old spunky johnnies is anything to go by.
And the smell from them is unbelievable. Extraordinary, look at this. Unbelievable.
Let's get back to Meldrew.
Richard Wilson has been sitting over here with our call taker, muttering, "I don't believe it," under his breath. Let's see how he's been getting on.
I had a call from a Mrs. Nellie Straw from Yorkshire who experienced frogs falling in front of her car while driving through Scotland.
Okay.
And I didn't say I don't believe it, of course.
Hello?
Hello, who's that? Is that Cliff?
This is Cliff Davis from Swansea.
What happened to you, Cliff? Yeah?
I went outside after the storm, and I was absolutely amazed to find several crabs on my drive.
You had crabs on your drive?
Yeah, now we are 5 miles from the sea.
Good Lord. Thanks for calling.
Moving on. Ever heard that phrase, the elevator pitch? Imagine you're going between floors with a big TV exec. What's your solid gold idea? Guaranteed to have him handing over a cheque before the doors open. Well, picture this. A cross between Noel's Christmas Presents, Surprise Surprise and Jim Will Fix It, and hosted by one of the Beatles. Best Wishes with Ringo Starr is an unbroadcast pilot for CBS from 1993.
I know you're asking yourself, hey, what's he doing here? Well, I'm making your wishes come true. That's what I'm doing here. This is not your ordinary reality television show. This is more like super reality, because Best Wishes is where your dreams come true. Now, somebody has to pick those wishes, and that's me.
It's a target slam.
Unlike your Annikas and Nick Knowleses, throwing themselves into the task, Ringo gets away with the bare minimum work, spending less time filming than I did watching, and farming everything out to co-host stand-up comic Jeff Marder. First Wish is a man called Rick who dreams of jumping out of a plane. I don't think much of Jeff's cover story, mind.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. Doing a little breakfast survey here. Do you like to skydive before breakfast or after breakfast?
He's not interested in my breakfast at all.
Because we're going to take you skydiving. I'm Jeff Marder from Best Wishes. Nice to meet you.
Serious?
I'm really serious.
Oh, get out of town!
What? Nah, I never knew that.
In hindsight, perhaps pick a different turn of phrase.
You're excited?
Very much so.
All right, Rick, let's roll.
There's a lot of things in life I really wanted to do, and
honestly, the most dangerous part is Jeff trying to get Rick into the hangar.
Ringo found the perfect jump school that specializes in extraordinary skydives.
He did he? Yeah? I can't lie, I'm pretty pissed that Ringo's not going up himself.
Girl Scouts can do this, you can do this.
Even Girl Scouts. We return to Ringo, leaning very, very close to a child's face.
Hey, this is Jordan Wheeler, and he's 5, and his wish is to be on television. Let's go away. There you are. Now you're on television. Great.
It seems like any time the camera's not on him, Ringo's being doubled over. In a coat made out of your auntie's duvet cover, check out the interesting statues behind. And of course he's not just a collector, but a great artist himself.
You see, Gene is a Vietnam veteran. When Gene came home, he got on with his life.
I need you to get me in touch with NASA immediately. When you tell them that the moon is out of orbit.
Well, when you make a wish for someone else, something good always comes back to you.
Gene wished for his dead captain's family to visit the memorial wall in Vietnam, leading to a surprise reunion at Washington. Again, imagine how much better this would be if Ringo bothered turning up. Dad's old mate, and the voice of Thomas the Tank Engine.
If you have a wish for yourself, or a wish for someone else, write to me at Best Wishes, CBS Television, Los Angeles, California, 90036.
You know, there is this one thing I've always really wanted, but I just never had the confidence to ask. You only live once.
Do not send fan mail to any address that you have. It's going to be tossed. I'm warning you with peace and love, but I have too much to do.
Nah, bollocks.
Anyway, peace and love, peace and love.
Sometimes it's the uniqueness of the wish that intrigues me. Like Linda Lee Curtis from Phoenix, Arizona. But it's such a great wish. Linda Lee is a published poet who can make up poems at the drop of a hat.
And her wish is to get her poetry presented to a larger audience.
You made a wish, and now we know. We're from Best Wishes, the TV show! Gotcha! Gotcha!
I guess so. Oh, that's great. I would have never guessed.
I know. Let's go to New York. This is great! Come on, let's go to New York.
Let's go.
We're going to New York.
New York, my kind of town.
Now look, all these guys are wearing the same overcoat. They're like the Pep Boys of Wall Street. Now, when Ringo wants a wish to come true, he means business.
Now, I've had some ill-fated attempts at self-promotion in my time, but in those pre-internet days, if you wanted anyone to read your work, there was only one option.
Take a look at these. I have a bag full of these. We printed her Best Wishes poem on hundreds of matchbooks and gave them out to people.
Wishes are such magic things, made up in winter, fall and spring. They grow from such a tiny start, are born inside the dreamer's heart. No matter if you're young or old, the wish can never be too bold.
I think the matches were okay, but not big enough. Ringo wanted big.
What this means is just wallpapering it up in the street. Yeah, that'll do it. People always stop and read flyers, don't they? And New Yorkers famously twee and cheery. But they pull it straight back down before Ringo cops a fine for fly postering.
Now remember, Linda Lee can make up poems right on the spot, and Ringo wanted to challenge her talent. There was only one place to test her.
Ringo this, Ringo that. It's like the Wizard of Oz. I'm starting to think there's no such man as Ringo at all. And what have they done? I suppose hired a big venue for her to do a live poetry freestyle.
Oh! What's that? What's that? Someone knows we're here. So, as we rented out the Jumbotron for 1 hour.
No, just standing in the middle of the street. The world's busiest, noisiest street. With all horns honking and cabbies swearing. And tourists asking directions for the dirty bookstores. And when she's finished, they put it on the screen.
Okay, here's a moment we've been waiting for. Magic Serenade by Linda Lee Curtis. There she is, everybody.
Times Square does magic dance as taxis direct a noisy serenade. Lovers of the city, lovers of the night, walk heart in heart, hand in hand.
I wouldn't open with it.
Yo, Linda Lee, is Times Square big enough for you?
I think it's big enough. It's great. Wishes do come true, believe it.
Another wish fulfilled. Stay tuned. Maybe the next one will be yours.
Well then, I wish for the most comically abrupt ending in the history of television.
Well, I would make a wish for you.
Oh, you're too kind. And what would that wish be?
Something tropical, something mystical,
tropical.
something wacky, something
wacky.
Ringo-like.
Wacky.
Sorry to say, if you wished for a full series of Best Wishes with Ringo Starr, it did not get granted.
Anyway, peace and love, peace and love.